This one. All right, welcome back to New Day and trying to spice your midweek. But the fire outbreak at the Coconut Grove Regency, we've seen several issues raised about it. Work of the fire service, how quickly the organization was able to get back and deal with clients and customers. Now, let's watch this. We'll come back to discuss the issues.
Journalists were not allowed to go beyond the main entrance of the hotel. Personnel of the fire service were inside, salvaging what is left.
We will be able to narrow, based on all other information that we gathered, that the fire started from one of the TV studios. And we want to examine all other remains of the fire. That will give us what exactly triggered off the fire from the studio. So that's what we are doing, to see what exactly went wrong before the fire started from the studio.
Head of Public Relations, Billy Anaglate, refuted claims fire service did not get to the scene on time.
The public were of the view that there were tenders that were coming without water in them. It's just unfortunate in the sense that they were not able to find out before going to the press to broadcast all this. Technically, it is wrong for you to be fighting fire when you exhaust your water in the tender that you are fighting fire, to move it out, to go and look for water and come back. So what we did yesterday is to position tenders at various strategic points permanently.
Public Relations Director of Group Indom, Richmond Kilson, assured the public everything is under control. Meanwhile, the immigration office that shares a wall with the Coconut Grove Hotel was also affected by Saturday's inferno.
And there's a thin line between Dr. Andrew's place and our place. At my back, we have a poly tank that got burst because of the heat. A poly tank that got burst. But later on, I got to know it was four. It was four, which they are trying to replace. Then we have a container office. The top was burning, so our people had to bring in fire extinguishers, about 10, which we have within the premise to put the fire off.
Officials were seen trying to put the place in order as debris and other wood-based materials fell into the compound.
All right, welcome back. And let's quickly take a look at the newspaper. The Today newspaper starts and says that AC boss unfit for what? AFAC tells Chatham House. We'll take a look at that story. But particularly the commentary of the Today newspaper, Stop the Lies, and Anaglate, that's Group Indom telling the Ghana National Fire Service. We'll talk about that. The Finder says, courts stifling business. It takes at least 2 years to enforce contracts in the Ghanaian court. The Daily Guide, 32 million CD missing at venture capital. BNI probes deals. The Ghanaian Times says 31 trafficked children liberated and unemployed nurses demand instant posting. And Daily Graphic, this one I won't miss it. Government embarks on reclamation of degraded lands destroyed by illegal mining. That's on the back page. We'll talk about it. The front page, $41 million. We're told that's a bauxite export not captured in audit report of a Bank of Ghana. Zoom Lion buys into president's vision to make Accra the cleanest city. Those are some stories that the Daily Statesman remained the star of Africa. President Akufo-Addo, Ghana told. Those are some of the newspapers here with me. My guest to do the talking, the Chief Executive Officer of CTFM is here, Samuel Atamensak. Samuel, good morning. And a very warm welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
And then Hannah Akwa is entrepreneur with us. Hannah, good morning too.
Good morning.
And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start with this one. The Today newspaper talks about the story just watched, the fire outbreak at the Coconut Grove Regency. Issues about it. The company or the organization is suggesting that some half-truths were told by the Ghana National Fire Service, particularly the fact that it didn't have the organization didn't have the requisite firefighting equipment around in terms of making sure the fire did not spread. They're suggesting that the fire service didn't tell the truth. But Hannah, let me start with you. So the the fire service is suggesting that certain vital equipment needed to have been installed by the organization to check fire. The organization says that's not true. They have done everything, that the fire service itself is not well resourced to deal with these fires. That's the banter between the two of them.
Ironically, I was actually at Coconut Grove Hotel yesterday to meet a client or a few clients, and I was actually shocked to see the devastation of the fire. It could have really killed someone. It's huge. It's spread across the entire, like the shops and everything there. Personally, I think there are mandates in regards to such establishments where you are housing people. There are specific mandates as to what you should have, fire extinguishers and whatnot. First is to find out if they had the fire extinguishers, and then to find out if the security and people there actually know how to use them. Right? Because there's a problem, it's a matter of stocking and then knowing how to use it. Secondly, if the fire service, or there might be someone who goes around to check that the different establishments are equipped, wouldn't it be the fire service that does that?
That's it.
And so did they do it in the first place, or did they just rely on the management of the hotel to ensure that they had things in place? So it's accountability, and I'm not sure exactly where the fault lies, but it's for us to find out if they had the equipment there in the first place. Did the security know how to use it? And then lastly, who checks? Typically and internationally, you have annual checks, or sometimes biannual, of your equipments. And sometimes you have to replace them if they expired and get new ones, So I'm not sure what the process is here in Ghana or within the hotel industry.
I see. Grateful. So the Group Indom is blaming fire service, or the fire service is blaming Group Indom for not putting in place the basic fire fighting equipment. But the company says no, that's not the case. The fire service rather didn't have what it takes to fight fire.
Well, good morning again. Good morning to your viewers. And I'm even lost for words because I'm wondering why the fire service would even dare to speak this way. So you have a doctor who is looking after a patient until the patient dies and then starts advising the corpse. You should have come early. You should have taken your medication. Something like that. You came, stood and watched the place burn down and then start advising people. What is that? And indeed, even if they didn't have the requisite equipment, didn't you know that as fire service? Didn't you know that a huge hotel like this would not have fire equipment? And that's a blatant lie. And I dare say it. Reason I say this is that even our small City FM facility has at least 2 times a year visitations from the fire service. To come
and you have
check.
a fire certificate?
Yes. To come and check. Only the certificate takes forever to come. But they come and check. In fact, in the last 1 week or 2 weeks, they've been at our premises.
Wow.
So if what you are doing, inspection, is effective, you would know which facilities, public facilities, have their fire equipment or not.
That's right.
So for you to wait till such a thing happens to say that they didn't have, at which point did you know that they didn't have?
Well,
so that's why
the blame is really at their doorstep.
No, what I'm saying that I don't even believe that. The point is that I was there. I went there. My house is not too far. I went there. Yes.
Occurred.
And I just observed how they were handling the thing. Look, there was near fisticuffs between one of the staff of hotel and the fire service people because of the attitude with which they handled the thing. And this guy, the light-skinned guy, I forget his name, he has a very European name, so, And we were wondering, not until the military fire service came.
Seriously.
I'm telling you.
Is it that they didn't know how to
They were
use
doing
the
it
equipment?
their own way.
Their own way.
Oh, Lord.
I saw the military tank
Yes.
move into the hotel closer to the
Where the
entrance,
fire is.
take the equipment, move into the fire.
Maybe the firemen were afraid of the fire.
I'm not saying that. They were doing some. At least they earlier on had prevented the fire from moving into the immigration site because
Yeah.
they were next door.
Yeah.
So they attacked the fire from the back.
Okay.
You know. But
Okay.
when I got there, the fire where it was, and within a space of 30 minutes, where it
It has
had
spread
gotten
to
to.
other
I mean,
So people had difficulty with the way they were fighting the fire.
of course. I'm saying that they almost fought among themselves because you could see the pain on the faces of the staff pushing fire people to do the work, and
they
even
weren't.
some of the staff. And I told the guy it was too dangerous, fetching buckets of water and
Seriously.
trying to douse the fire themselves.
But so that means
So-
they didn't have any fire extinguishers.
No, they did.
They went-
But at
you
that
ran
point,
out.
a fire
At
extinguisher
that level,
certainly-
the
Yeah,
fire
it was too big.
extinguisher would
Okay.
not
Wouldn't
work.
work.
Because according to the account, they used the fire extinguishers that they had. But
Okay.
you see, we all forget that this is a wooden structure.
Structure is true.
So it spread so quickly.
Fast, yes.
And look, we have fire service not because they are consultancy. They are not a consultancy. That when you call them, they will take their time and
Sorry.
calculate things
Before coming.
Before coming. It's an emergency
Exactly.
service. So it's their duty to be ready for emergencies, not to come and explain to us when the fire. Look, the man has lost not less than $3 billion.
Wow.
$3 million. I'm telling you, because it raised down all the studios, the TV studios, the radio studios,
Yeah.
the bank, the brokerage firm. Everything went down. Fortunately, they were able to take out the safe containing money in the banks before the fire got there.
So,
You know.
so in actual fact, what you're questioning is perhaps the professional skills of the fire
Yes.
service, the men who were there, and also the fact that perhaps they didn't have some logistics to undertake what they were supposed to do.
Well, I don't know about logistics because the military came with the same tank and they were able to do
Billy
the
has
work.
been talking about they needing a helicopter to fight fire.
You
well.
don't need any helicopter at this
Seriously?
point. It's just
Yes.
a two-story. It's just a two-story.
Wow.
Now we see 8, 10, 15-story buildings in Accra. Touch wood, if fire should land at the 17th floor, they will flee for their lives. The fire service, they will run. Because even if it's a two-story, you can't manage it.
What for the 17th?
So, you know, when I see some of these long buildings, I just pray in tongues and pass.
that it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. Because we can't do it.
But then I think it will come back to the fire service, and not just the fire service. I think every industry or every organization that has to do with like maintenance and control, how many times are they being trained
Right.
to ensure that they understand their duties? And as you said, now that we have skyscrapers in Ghana, how are they being trained to handle skyscrapers, get the ladders,
My dear,
and then they come and say
the
they're
so-
afraid of heights?
Two-story we can't handle.
So-
So let's
for
not
those-
even talk about
those in the
skyscrapers.
Can't import
skyscraper-
help for that.
You are blaming the occupants.
Okay.
They are not fire people.
We'll ask God to come and take this day and then move on. When Kofi Kenyatta is in our studios, I'm grateful. Now let's turn to the Daily Graphic this month. The back page has this story, exciting one. Government embarks on reclamation of degraded lands. The story, Doche Klobotu says that government has started the process of reclaiming an estimated 1.5% of the country's land surface, which has allegedly been degraded by illegal mining. And we're told that out of an estimated 238,000 square kilometers, we're told between 50,000 and 60,000 square meter, representing 1.5%, have been degraded. Mr. Peter Mewu, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, announced this and says that the reclamation exercise has started by leveling the lands involved and in these degraded areas. We're told that where water has taken over those lands, they will be pumped out and then filled, and then some trees planted on them. So the media has been commended for this whole thing about dealing with Galamsey, and we started from a point. Reclamation is continuing. Perhaps we are seeing results now.
I just wasn't sure whether you were done with the question.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. I think that the optics is good.
Right.
In that, from where we sit in the media and as general observers, we see first the talk by policymakers, and then second followed by action. And then third followed by response and collaboration from media organizations, civil society groups, and all that. And so getting into the right direction. I'm not so sure whether we should expect the required results just yet.
Is it not a start?
That's what I've established.
Reclaiming these lands.
You see, the way these things work, even cessation is the beginning of reclamation.
Right.
Okay? Because they have been on a continued destruction of the land. So the day they stop the the destruction, the reclamation starts organically. Now there's another way of reclaiming the land which will involve a lot of money. That I don't think we have the money now. But we are saying that the rains are just about beginning. And so if they stop the especially the alluvial mining now, what we are going to have in some of the water bodies is that the new rains will wash away the dirty water to some extent. And so to that extent, I agree. The real reclamation will take not less than 10 years.
Right.
Assuming everything stopped. Because you see, we forget that this thing has been happening on the blind side of a lot of people for a long time.
100 years old.
Wow.
For a long time. For a long time. So we will not wish it overnight. But at least, because some of the places, because of the types of chemicals that they have used, again in alluvial mining, fishes and aqua, whatever, life is gone. And you have nothing in the water body. So it takes a long time for these things to come alive again. So I think that the effort is good, the response is good. We have some pockets of resistance.
Right.
And
Which
rightly so.
Yeah.
And I've always maintained that it's not just a coercive approach, but education as well. Because some of them have grown to believe that that is their only source of livelihood. And such persons, you don't just confront them with force, but you also educate them. And I think NCC and all those people should now get involved in educating people, because if it happens, say 100 kilometers away from us, you sit in Accra thinking that it's far off, but the water will just stream down to Accra.
Yes.
All right. Hannah, so government effort, Mr. Tamensa talks a lot about the natural reclamation if it is stopped, and these are processes, but government's effort at reclaiming these destroyed lands, very, very commendable. Is that how you put it?
Yes, I think is commendable, but I second his statement, because apart from reclaiming or seizing the land, educating is so important, and ensuring that not just the people who are in the act of illegal mining, it's also the community chiefs and the people around them, because I think the ripple effects also goes to them. And so what else can the people be doing? What other trade can the individuals who are in the act of mining be doing now? So educating them on why they've stopped, yes, but then train them on something else, because if they've been doing it for 100 years, why will they not go back behind the closed doors? I mean, I listened to the news this week, and they were saying that they've moved in one of the places where they went to inspect. They moved the trucks to the city, or to the town, I should say, in the village, away from the mines. And then at night, they go back to mine. I mean, so who is going to be securing the area in regards to police, armed forces, to ensure that they don't go back? Because the governments will go back to their hometowns, probably in Accra or whatnot, and then we leave the towns where they are, So will the chiefs allow them to continue? It's just the same thing. So we need to put more enforcement. So government is doing the right thing. But I believe if they put more enforcement around these mines, whether it's cameras, if we have the technology, or you actually physically put the army or security to ensure that they actually are not used. Because from the story we heard in the news already, at night they go back. They just bring the trucks back to the mine site and they continue mining at night, which is even more dangerous. So I think government's doing a good job, but there needs to be more traction so we can actually see that the people who are mining are now in a certain trade. And that comes down to education and public capital.
I'm grateful. Let's turn to the Today newspaper.
I think we should also commend the minister and his team for a good job done so far.
Great. Mr. Amewu, I'm sure is watching. The story on the Ghanaian Times, unemployed nurses demand instant posting. I think one other newspaper has the same story. The Ghanaian Times has it, and then the Finder has it too. Yes, but a quick look at the story on page 15 of the Ghanaian Times. It says that a group of unemployed nurses who picketed at the Ministry of Health since Monday to demand instant posting from government have threatened to storm the premises of the Flagstaff House to meet the president if their concerns are not addressed. We're told the number about 900, and they've been at home since 2015, waiting to be posted. The assurance from the Health Ministry, Madam Tina Mreku, Tina Mreku is a spokesperson for unemployed nurses. She said that there are 937 of them, and the past 9 months they've been at home, and they are waiting for promises from government to have them posted. But the assurance from the Minister of Health, the PRO who spoke to the Ghanaian Times, is that the ministry was working to resolve the issue. He said government had issued clearance to about 800 nurses who have already been posted to begin work. This is part of the 11,000 clearance fund promised to be released by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia. So, Hannah, let me start with you. Now, we're told that these nurses have been at home. Some of them have been posted, except that the processes are delaying, and that is why they went to the ministries. Are they being just, they don't have the patience to wait, the nurses?
Well, I guess that's why I'm an entrepreneur and CEO of TKC Africa.
Right.
I don't sit there and wait for someone to feed me, right? I'm blessed each day that I'm alive, and God has even given me the chance to see the next day. So I make the best out of each day. And so I believe maybe, yes, there must be a website, or the government can help to put a site where they can find out all the job availabilities from public to private sector. And maybe then the nurses can go and also apply.
But these are, I think, bonded nurses. They need to work for government.
They need,
yes.
And I understand there's a situation where, during the election period, where they were going to whether pay the bond or stop the bond, and I think some of the nurses said they wanted to kind of go out and find their own jobs, but then they said, okay, we'll stop the bond, and then now they want the bond back because of the financial security that they get. Personally, I would love to maybe meet the person who kind of like champions the Nurses Association to understand exactly what the issue is, because there are jobs out there in the private sector. If they can be released from their bond to go and pursue those jobs, or if government says, do you know what, since we're delaying, why don't you also go and try? You know, take an effort, go and try. And if you happen to find a job, because we don't want to delay you and, you know,
and keep you at home,
then you just come back and say, we found a job, happens to be in the private sector, and then we'll release you from your bond. And there should be no issue with that, because at the end of the day, you have found a solution for yourself, and we should applaud people who take initiative. I can't sit home for 2 years. I can't sit home for some small money. No, I can't. When I know I have the means now and the ability to go and make use of my skills. So perhaps I might not understand the situation, but from what I hear and read, take the initiative, go out, come back. Why would the government not release you? Because then you are less of a burden to the government. But if you're going to sit home, then, you know, it's up to you.
So, should government get rid of this bond thing and allow these nurses to find their
I
own
think
levels?
so. I think so.
Well, I wouldn't attempt to answer this question in a yes or no manner. I think either way, there are some nuances that would have to deal with. You know, I get a bit emotional when it comes to this nursing issue because you have a country that has difficulty in managing their health delivery system.
Right.
Some of the elements will be lack of staff, you know, at some point. And so you have abundance of nursing staff, and yet you don't have what it takes to absorb them into the system. And so that's the pain. I mean, and again, I mean, for me, my mother practiced nursing for well over 40 years before she went to retirement. And rising through the ranks as a community health nurse, through staff nursing, to all the midwifery and all these things. So I've seen how they have progressed. But you are not at an advantageous position as a young nurse to make a decision of going to the private sector. Because the nurses believe that in order for you to acquire the proper practical lessons, you should be in a big government institution.
I don't think so.
Well, they believe, not you.
Okay.
Okay, I guess
the reason is that they also don't think that they have enough job security with the private clinics.
And so
Job security.
I understand that,
And
because
so-
it comes down to performance when it comes to private sector.
Let me finish. So it's a mix of elements that motivate them to want to live to the bond. So you are given a bond, you sign, and then that puts you in the government system for, I think, 2 years or some more. I'm not so sure. And so some of them, after the bond, they look elsewhere. Some of them go back to school, some of, you know, and these are diploma nurses, if I understand right.
Nurses.
And so I'm thinking that if the government has what it takes, financial resources, they should absorb them and then review the whole process again, whether we should let go of the bond. But the thing is that if you unbond them, they will finish and travel to other countries anyway.
Okay.
They will go to other
and
countries.
that will be to our disadvantage.
Of course. So I think that is just efficiently managing the whole process to absorb them into our medical institutions.
So if I can understand, if they go to other countries, then they're working in private sector.
Yes, of course.
Because you won't go to Nigeria.
They can also find themselves in the
government.
sector.
It's fine.
No, they don't necessarily work in private sector.
They're working
they
for
do adaptation first. You do adaptation in the US, you do everywhere, you do
adaptation.
Yes,
okay, that's fine.
And then once you do the adaptation, you absorb into their, in the UK, the NHS.
That's fine.
You know, but the thing is that there's also a certain preference for Ghanaian nurses. And as I know, Ghanaian and Zimbabwean nurses, because of the
English,
language, you know, it's easier for you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that we should first of all absorb them, whichever numbers, and then secondly review the process and see what will be an efficient way of doing it.
All right.
Otherwise, I'll also allow the private sector to also take in, as we do internships for most people.
No, they do.
Yes.
And so
they do. These have gone through their internship.
Whilst you are on a training, you are posted. I have a student nurse that on our scholarship program, who David is Sunyani Nurses Training College. Currently, they are on one of those trips where we can't even reach him on phone. You know, I'm telling you. So they do the practical.
I know some of them where they are very terrible.
And then hopefully, then some can be retained, whether private or public.
Well, you need to serve the bond.
Yes, you need to serve the bond no matter what.
For 2 years.
All right, let me go to the Today newspaper this morning. The EC boss unfit for what? AFAC tells Chatham House. Now, yesterday, AFAC organized a press conference and said that the attempt by the Royal Institute of International Affairs in the UK to include the chairperson of Ghana's Electoral Commission in the prestigious Chatham House Prize Award was wrong. That's according to AFAC. Now, these are the reasons. Mr. Henry Asand, who spoke for the AFAC team mentioned 14 reasons why the EC boss was unfit for the 2017 Chatham House Prize, stressing that the nomination of EC boss for the prestigious award was unacceptable. According to him, the electoral processes leading to the 2016 elections was burdened with court cases, anxiety, demonstrations, and this nearly plunged the country into chaos. And so, based on that, AFAC is suggesting that her name should be taken out of the nominees. AFAC is saying that the outcome of the elections was largely the contribution of peace-loving Ghanaians and must not be credited to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. So 14 reasons why she should not be nominated or given the award. Includes some of the things they mentioned: court cases, anxiety, demonstrations. These are some of the reasons. Samuel, let me start with you. Should an EC boss be credited with a successful election?
I think, again, I will answer with caution.
Right.
It depends on the context of this election that we are talking about. A successful election which otherwise could have been chaotic. The answer is yes. Because regardless of what you feel,
that individual alone should be given a credit.
I'm coming. Regardless of how you feel about her, what you think about her, what you perceive about her, the buck stops with her.
It's true.
And that's why she was the person who did the announcement.
Yes.
I think that with what I'm reading from AFAC, they are not being fair to the lady. They are personalizing issues which is uncalled for. Once the elections are over, it is Ghana.
Thank you. Yeah.
It is Ghana. And we actually should be proud of the lady.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
We should be proud of Mrs. Charlotte Osei, the first chairperson of the first female chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who is steering the affairs. Now you can know what you know, but for me the outcome determines everything.
That's right.
And for as long as the major political parties are concerned, she delivered a proper, unquestionable outcome.
Yes.
Now, if Chatham House decides that based on their own attributes that they are looking for, they want to recognize her, it is to the credit of our country.
Thank you.
Because she is in competition with other personalities from other countries.
Thank you.
And so we should rather applaud her.
Thank you.
In fact, if I had money, I would have thrown a party for her before she goes. So I don't think
the court cases they claim
which
there
court
was
cases?
Anxiety, there was demonstration.
No, but the court cases not better than chaos on the streets?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Because we have
so for
rules.
you, you're part of the democratic process.
Of course, we have rules, we have regulations, we have directions, we have policies, and so somebody feel that they are not being treated well, they go to court, the court makes a determination, the process is moved to the next step. And if you remember, she kept saying that the elections will never be delayed, regardless of how many court cases. And so
she did it.
And she did it.
And so, if AFAC knows other things that will incriminate her, they should rather put it out. Rather than, for me, all the things they've said, they are general concerns, and I agree. But I don't think they have enough weight to prevent her from getting that recognition. For me, I salute the woman. She did a wonderful job.
Yes.
Hannah.
I salute the woman. I salute the woman. I'm a woman entrepreneur, and I understand the milestones that we have to be extra 200% in everything we do. We go to a meeting, sometimes I'm the only one in the investment meeting, and they think I'm the secretary. They don't know I run my business. So I definitely salute her. Ghana is one. Ghana is huge. We had a successful election that was applauded by everyone internationally, but we ourselves as Ghanaians still are holding grudges with a woman who did an exceptional job. They might have found 14 reasons not to put her on, but I can name probably 200 reasons why she did a very good job. So I'm very proud of her, and I'm very proud for the peaceful elections that we had, and I look forward to more of her, you know, just transforming the EC to be a good springboard for the next person who will take it all from her when she decides to go.
All right, I'm grateful. Let's wrap up with this one. Daily Graphic has this story. Zoom Lion Lords President Akufo-Addo's vision of making Accra cleanest African city, and the chairperson or the executive chairman of Zoom Lion Limited had commended President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for pledging to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa in the next 4 years. He said the president's commitment fed into the company's vision of championing clean, green, and healthy communities. The president made the pledge last Sunday at the Imstein in Accra. Anna, I'm beginning with you. We're wrapping up in just about 6 minutes. Now, the quest to clean communities, Accra, other places in Ghana, has been said to demand everyone on board. The president sounded the bell first. We're beginning to see some stakeholders coming in. Can we say that we're beginning then to see the call for everyone to come on board to clean our cities?
Why not? Are we not Ghanaians? And even if you're not a Ghanaian, you are residing and working and living here. You are part of the city. You are part of this nation. We even do it in my church.
We don't leave it to government alone.
We don't leave it to government. Why? It's my city. It's my town. You know, we don't leave it to government alone. Even my church, Agape House, we have at the weekends where we actually clean our community. We're actually in East Legon. So if we can do it as a church, from the pastors to the people in the church, why not us? And some of them are not even Ghanaians. So I think it's important. I know in some countries they have what they call sanitation days, where once a month, maybe at the end of the month, they will, you know, people are home and they clean the gutters and whatnot. But if, again, comes to education, if we can educate people not to be throwing things in the gutters and whatnot, it will reduce the work we have to do as a community every weekend or whatever structure the government puts in. But if we want to look at countries like Singapore, you know, look at the strict rules they put. You can't even throw chewing gum. You'll be fined, sometimes even put to jail. So if we don't want to get to that state and we like the freedom that we have here in Ghana, we should all take accountability and make sure that we're not throwing things out of the cars or the taxis, and instead we keep our trash and throw it at home. And we do our part to ensure Ghana, Accra, the different states and regions are beautiful and clean.
I see. I'll put the same questions to Mr. Tamensa, but the objective some have said is very, very good. How do we achieve it? How do we attain it?
Like I said before, in some countries, if I name Nigeria, I used to live there, they have, I think at the last Saturday of each month, they have what they call sanitation days. It's a bit strict there because they actually have the armies guarding the streets and you can't leave until maybe like 11 a.m. or 12. That's something we can do to start.
Something like that.
Okay.
Is it the sanitation
How was it?
Day or something? A monthly thing.
But we need to really ensure, and maybe you have videos on TV, radio, just to show these are the kind of things we expect you to do. Look at your gutters first, let's clean the gutters. And we will have some waste bins out there, since it's Zoom Lion. We can take the rubbish from the gutters, put in the waste bins, and Zoom Lion can come and pick it up. That could be part of their pro bono service, you know, to pick up the extra, sewage from the gutters, because we know what happens when the rains fall and the gutters and then all the incidents that have happened. That could be the number one thing we'll start with. And if we do that successfully, then we can start building more activities as we go on. But at the same time, changing the mindset of the Ghanaian to ensure that he or she understands that we're doing it not just to punish you, but we're doing it because we love our country. And we believe that once we have a clean country, clean gutters, less incidents like what happened even this year, you know, when the rains come in, this rainy season coming up. So less incidents will happen. And most importantly, when people are driving down, and when you, especially as a Ghanaian, are driving down, you'll be happy to see a clean environment.
Grateful. Samens, and so the objective is good, but it looks, some said it looks difficult to attain it.
Well, it is difficult to attain. I mean, no two ways about that. And I don't think the president said it's going to be easy. You know, but I think what can never be replaced is the political will. I mean, you can
We need it.
You can do all the other things, but if you don't have the political will, nothing is going to happen. So when we start from the political will, then it means something has just started.
How? When you say political will,
The
how?
president-
the president should carry a cane and go and stand this way.
No. The president has indicated, and he has put his own image on the line.
Yes.
That I want to make sure. That's what the kind of thing I'm talking about. Now, in the last 2-3 decades, we have had various efforts trying to bring good sanitation practices to our major cities, and we have failed. We stop at politicians announcing that, and we just got 20 million from the Netherlands government for sanitation, and then we misuse the money and everybody goes to sleep. So I'm just hoping that it won't be one of those things where they will announce that, oh, we just got funding. You need funding to clean your gutters, then God help you.
Thank you.
You don't need funding to do it?
We should do it.
You see, my point is that it's not just about cleaning. It's not just about cleaning.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not such a fan of the National Sanitation Day. It's about preventing.
Yes.
Preventing one and putting up punitive measures for people who flout the rules.
Yes.
But the laws are there.
Nobody executes the laws.
Yeah.
Enforcement is not there.
Yeah.
City authorities
And
are
I'm saying
sleeping?
that,
Is that what you're
I'm saying that if we will not change our attitudes, no government, even if the
Yes.
government is made up of angels and squadrons from heaven, nothing will change. If our attitude, just basic life norms, behaviors, attitudes, our cultural practices. If you run, I mean, look, TV3, you used to do this in the past when you were much younger.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm
serious.
over. At
Because
68,
he used to
I'm
do
quite old now.
that. He used to be on that beat
Yeah.
where they used to go around and look out for some of these deviant characters,
Yeah.
people just doing anything at all
Wheeling
by
around
the
and
road. You understand? If we won't stop that, no amount of foreign aid is going to clear our field.
No.
I mean, look at the Kole Lagoon. Look at the Odo. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to go fishing for what we used to call golden fish. You remember golden fish?
Yes.
That was
We
brown
go with
fish.
jam bottles. We go with jam bottle. The Odo was a river.
Yeah.
Now it's a
odored.
dead gutter smelling. Kole Lagoon. It was a lagoon when I passed because I lived in Amamo,
Right.
going to Kolebu where my mother works. You go on the bridge, you see the water in there. Now go and pass there. And have we developed? Are we progressing or retrogressing? So I'm just saying that no matter what we do, if we don't change our attitudes, and if there's nothing coming from the policymaker, the government, whoever is in charge to address the attitudinal issues, nothing will change.
Yes.
All right. I'm grateful. I'm sure policymakers and all